Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about some news coming out of Warner Media, and more specifically coming out of HBO Max. And it's an announcement I never thought I would actually hear. I never thought Hollywood would stoop low enough to scum suck the '80s to actually get this franchise rebooted. But apparently they are currently in development of a Garbage Pail Kids animated series that they're going to be putting direct on HBO Max. Now, for those people who don't know what the Garbage Pail Kids are, basically, a lot of people know about the movie, but basically they started out as these trading cards that Topps put out in the mid '80s, and they were meant for kids, although some of them were kind of meh even for kids. And basically they were these kind of goofy little cards with these funny little like Cabbage Patch type kids, but they were all like disgusting or like adult oriented, or well, not adult oriented, but they were either like gross or goofy or like funny or something like that. It's a funny little joke thing that kids used to have back then. It's like a trading card game. It's kind of like Pokemon cards, except you couldn't really do anything with them. But then after the trading card game, then they actually had the movie and a television series that did not air in the United States. Instead, it aired in Canada and a lot of other places, including the UK, Spain, and a few European countries. And basically, I don't know anything about the animated series. It only went on for about 13 episodes, so I know nothing about that. I have seen the movie, however, and I have seen what happens when you try to adapt this type of material. Now, the thing is the movie was obviously written by somebody that was on a lot of narcotics at the time, because the plot makes absolutely no sense, even for the characters themselves. There's not really a lot going on in that plot line that makes any sense, and the fact that the Garbage Pail Kids are there really doesn't change a whole lot about what's going on outside of the fact that they're basically a living plot MacGuffin. Um, but like we did this on an episode of Rated R Riffs a few years ago. I think it was like our third or fourth episode. We did the Garbage Pail Kids movie, and that movie was so fucking terrible that we all agreed we would not watch it again. And now you're rebooting that property, which was effectively killed, by the way. After that movie came out, they had the television series, but then everybody yanked that shit. Every single company just like disavowed it, and Topps even got rid of them after I think a relatively short amount of time. I don't think they were published all the way through like the '90s and stuff. But apparently Topps is actually one of the people that's pushing to get this made. And the other thing is that this is also being spearheaded by Danny McBride, of all people. Now, he claims that a lot of it has to do with his love of the trading card game when he was a kid and his love of the television show. I'm not sure if Danny McBride grew up in Canada, although that would kind of make sense if he had seen the TV show, because, again, it did not air in the United States. The only way he would have been able to see it would have been either A, in another country, or B, if he somehow managed to get it on some kind of a VHS recording or something. But regardless of that, he very specifically did not mention the movie. So that's kind of, I mean, that's a good thing. I like Danny McBride. I think he does a good job with a lot of the stuff that he does. He was involved in that the Halloween reboot in 2018, which wasn't bad. I did watch that. He's been involved, even if he's not in a particularly good movie, like Alien Covenant. Like Alien Covenant's an movie. Um, but his character I really liked in the movie, and he actually winds up surviving at the end. And I guess spoiler for that, but I mean nobody really cared about that movie, to be honest. And so I like him in that stuff, and then I like him in good movies too, like all the comedies he's been in, like This Is the End or Tropic Thunder. He does a really good job, but I just don't know if you can resurrect this franchise and make it palatable for the public. The other thing is, in a statement from McBride's production company, they are attempting to make this as kid-friendly as possible, which again I think kind of takes away from at least what the trading cards were anyway, which was kind of something that was bordering on something for kids. Like it was kind of like it was kind of weird. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird, and also especially in the movie they look like mutants. They look freaky in the movie. But regardless of that, the whole idea of resurrecting a Garbage Pail Kids franchise just shows how low Hollywood has stooped to scooping from the bottom of the barrel that is the 80s. I mean, they've already farmed pretty much all the other profitable franchises, or they've been shut out of them, like Back to the Future, thank God. But at this point, I mean, if you're drudging this up, why haven't you done anything with Kroll? That's the only thing I want to know is why haven't you done anything with Kroll? Because Kroll could actually use an update. I want to see something new from that universe. You know, I don't know if Ken Marshall is still alive, or I know he doesn't have hair anymore, so you might have to put a wig on him, but get his ass back there, get all those people back there, do a good sequel, or do like a sequel TV series or a prequel TV series or something with all the stuff from that universe. Like, of all the things, like you haven't dredged that up yet. Actually, now that I think about it, they also haven't dredged up Ridley Scott's Legend, but that might be tied up in legal rights with him. So that would be kind of interesting. But they have done plenty of shit from the 80s, and this is just going to show that they are reaching the end of that rope. I mean, they've already started. I shouldn't say that because they've already started mining 90s stuff, that decade's only been over for about 20 years. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. They don't have any voice actors set for this thing yet. There's no clear directors that are going on. I assume Danny McBride will be involved in at least the scripting process, in addition to being on as an executive producer. So I don't know how that's gonna go. The more names that we get attached to this thing, the more I'll be able to get a better picture in my head. But here's the problem again: is that this franchise was killed. Like this franchise stopped existing after that movie. And what people don't seem to get is like Highlander 2 The Quickening happened. And then they made a Highlander 3. Indiana Jones 4 happened. And they're making a fifth one. The there have been franchises that have hit brick walls, presumable brick walls, and people have just kept going. You know, it doesn't make sense that this stopped this franchise there. Um, Based on everything else we see when it comes to franchises where studios are willing to push them until they're literally driven into the ground. But in this franchise case, it was so bad it actually killed it. And now they are resurrecting it in some weird, fucked up Frankenstein's monster of whatever this franchise was. And I think the idea of maybe like bringing back the trading cards wouldn't be a bad idea. Like that would be relatively cheap. Topps is the one that does it. I mean, they're the top baseball card supplier in the world. Um, so I mean, it would be interesting if they maybe brought something like that back, and updated it a bit, and different jokes and stuff like that, or kept the classic ones too, just because the 80s. But that I could see working if you're going to try and revive something, but I don't think putting it in any kind of visual media is a good idea. And please, for the love of God, don't make another movie on that. It's literally like history is cyclical. Like, you don't learn your lesson, then you go back and you get fucked again. But regardless of that, that's just kind of my feelings on this because I've seen that god-awful fucking movie. But I want to know what your opinions are. Would you like to see a Garbage Pail Kids series, a new one? Would you like to, do you not care? Do you know about the Garbage Pail Kids? Put your thoughts in the comments below. As usual, I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?